Yes. That's the easiest way for me to start this review. If you're here from the Star Wars Baddies video, welcome. Whew, boy, I didn't know how I was gonna feel going into this because anytime you're on the internet, you have to deal with two separate hemispheres. There's the logical hemisphere, which is, hey, we're going to sit down, we're going to wait for this show to come out, we're going to sit down, we're going to watch it, and then we're going to give our opinion. Then there's the other hemisphere that operates on like the last functioning brain cell, and that brain cell is constantly having like a stroke where they have to dump and rag on everything in regards to the show because they feel offended because they hate Star Wars. And being online, you operate in both of these spaces and you try to keep them both away. You try to keep away the space of people that are hyped for something because they can influence the way in which you're going to view something. And then you try and keep away the people that are always super negative because it's exasperating, they're exhausting, and they also infect the way in which you're going to think about something. I'm happy to say that avoiding both of these, I was able to sit down and watch the show and have an absolute fucking ball. This show is great. Lightsaber combat, great. The new droids introduced, great. The new Darksiders, which, interestingly enough, we're getting a combination of two new Darksiders and a returning Darksider from a faction that we thought was more or less destroyed in the form of an Inquisitor. Great. The fact that we're basically getting teases and sprinkles of Grand Admiral Thrawn without them basically just throwing him to the forefront, great. The actors that they cast to basically play both Ezra, I thought the tribute to him, well, both the mural that they had on the wall, but also the hologram he left for Sabine, great. That shows just how much of a relationship that the both of them had, that he wanted to make sure that he left an extra message for her so that she can understand his decision without feeling raw about it. Beautiful. The opening introduction to Balon and his apprentice, great. I love the fact that they both landed on the ship. It really felt like Star Wars, the Old Republic. If you ever watched one of the old trailers for that game, where the Sith basically land on the Republic ship and they both come walking off. Loved it. I love the fact that the second I saw, my brain, for whatever reason, thought that the person that we were going to see was Ahsoka. And then the second I saw the ship and I saw the dark cloaks, I was like, "Oh, that's not Ahsoka at all." These people are here for business. Admiral, Commander, Captain, whatever the hell he was. I actually love the fact that the captain gave Balin shit, which is, he's old enough probably to remember Jedi walking around, so he was willing to basically like entertain this. It just so happens that his attempt to entertain this led to his death, which was super upsetting. I like the fact that they expanded on, what was her name? Her name is, if I can find it somewhere. I know I just had it up somewhere. I don't want to mess up anybody's names. Her name is, if I can pull this up. There we go. Diana Lee Inosanto as Morgan Elsbeth. We got introduced to her during, I think, season 2 of The Mandalorian, where Ahsoka goes to that town, arrests her, and sends her off to the New Republic. It's great that her character came back, and then it also answers a few questions that people had when her and Ahsoka dueled, which was like, why is this random lady in space able to like kind of have Ahsoka wary to the point where like she took this extra step in order to basically beat her and capture her and bring her in. She's a witch of Dathomir, which is great to see them back again. I love that they're pulling back, or that episode 1 and 2 have basically coalesced all these different dark side factions. You have Balin with the Dark Jedi. You have the guy who hasn't been explained who he is yet, but it's he's a member of the Inquisitors. I like the fact that we got Witches of Dathomir. We're probably going to end up seeing some more Darksiders if where they're going actually turns out to be where I think they're going. That is great. It shows that all these different organizations these Darksiders didn't just collapse and disappear once Vader and Palpatine rose to power. There were still people out there lurking in the shadows. Like Balon was lurking in the shadows with a whole damn apprentice. The Inquisitors, after the Inquisitorius collapsed, are still out there somewhere. That's good. I like that. I like the fact that we got a call out or shout out for HK units. That's dope as shit. Because one of the first things I thought when I saw the assassin androids, I was like, I wonder if they'd be, be interesting if they were like HK units. Turns out they are HK units. That's good. I like that. I like when you take small little nuggets from Star Wars and you throw them in there, and it's not for everyone, but if you're steeped in Star Wars lore, it's something you can get hyped for. I heard HK units, my ears perked up, and I started like looking and then going back to like look at these characters again, because I'm like, yeah, it makes more sense that an HK unit would be able to like intimidate or at least fight a Jedi on par for a few minutes, and that their best mode of essential attack is to basically jump a Jedi. I also like the fact that the one HK unit that Sabine injured crawled up into the ceiling to basically ambush and kill whoever the next person is that came in, because that's the HK unit's mindset. I can't escape, my leg is broken, I'm going to take the most optimal position in the ceiling to drop down and kill whoever the next person is that walks through the room. Good. Love it. I love seeing Lothal. I love seeing Lothcats. I love the giant mural with the Loth Wolves and Ezra and everyone in the same design style, close to the same design style that we got for the Star Wars Rebels show. I thought that was a really good decision on their part. I like the fact that Sabine hasn't figured out her shit yet, that she's still messed up from Ezra's decision to basically warp Thrawn off into the unknown, which we now know that the unknown is a completely different galaxy, which answers the question as to why he never came back. Because it's like, well, the Purgils got me here. Apparently the Purgils can go wherever the hell they want. Like these space whales have the ability to go to whatever galaxy they choose to at any point in time that they choose to. Whereas Thrawn doesn't have that tech. Later on, during episode 2, when you see them building the gigantic hyperdrive, and they're like, well, where on here are you building the gigantic hyperdrive for? Guess what? That gigantic ring that they have is a callback to, whose ship was that? Was that Anakin's ship? Was that Obi-Wan's ship? It's the Jedi Star Cruiser that it has the ring in space. I think it's Obi-Wan's. That it flies into the ring locks, and the ring acts as the hyperdrive, and then it warps off. What is that giant ring going to connect to? Why wouldn't it connect to Thrawn's capital ship, the Chimera? The Chimera warped off into space. It makes the most sense that that ring would basically connect to the front of the Chimera, and then using that same beam that took him away, he uses that to warp back into like the main galaxy with his completely new fleet. Yes. When you're watching a show and they drop small nuggets and everything makes sense. That is good. That is good, solid Star Wars action that the movies, for whatever reason, have consistently failed to deliver. I like the fact that the map isn't a MacGuffin, because one of the things off the top of my head was from Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, where they have to get the knife, because the knife shows directly where on this planet you're supposed to go to jump into a hole from the Star Destroyer that was, not the Star Destroyer, from the Death Star that was destroyed over Endor, in order to get in there and get to the Emperor's throne room, to unlock a thing, to get a thing, to put in a thing, to fly off into space to an unknown destination. No, it's a fucking map. She discovers the map, brings it to Sabine. Sabine works her magic, figures it out, opens it up. It's a map that shows you where you're supposed to go and where you're supposed to warp in order to get to another galaxy that's just out there somewhere. And then it also shows, if that's the path to get there, that you can turn around and come right back. Because the context clues they put forward are, these are the things that are happening. These people came here before, which means that we can go to them, we can get Thrawn, and we can turn right around and come straight back. And we know that Ezra most likely is either with Thrawn or he's somewhere in that galaxy far over there. Another thing that's also super great is the New Republic still not having their shit together, where Hera goes to the planet and she's like, you got all these former Imperials that used to work here, when she's walking through. And he's like, well, I'm not, I don't really care about Empire or Republic. I'm just really here for the money, which is a callback, and in my opinion, a really good callback to The Last Jedi, where they go to the one planet that shouldn't exist, Canto Bight, because it serves no narrative purpose in any way, shape, or form. And as they're walking through, whose character was that? I think it's Benicio del Toro's character. And his character is like, yeah, First Order, former Empire, Republic, New Republic, all those people are here because, and it's also something that Andor touched on as well, which is the super rich, they don't go to war. They don't care because they make money off of the war. They sell things to the Empire, they sell things to the New Republic. Both of those sides fight it out, and their money basically remains the same. So it doesn't matter to them who's at war or what you're at war for. I like that theme is maintained here, where she's walking through and she's seeing all these Imperials working here. He can't answer any of her questions. Some stuff is going over here, some stuff is going over here, some stuff is being allocated back to the board. And she's like, well, what's going on here and what's happening with this? And then when she starts asking too many questions, the blasters come out, the lightsabers come out, everything goes to shit, everybody gets put down. And Ahsoka jumps off to like, oh, I really thought she was going to sun that dude when she jumped out to duel the Inquisitor. I really thought she was going to disrespect him. Well, she low-key kind of disrespect him because he throws the lightsaber and it goes past her. And then, like, the entire time I was like, isn't that lightsaber supposed to come back? Like, did he just throw it away? It's supposed to come back, right? And then he hops onto the ship with Shin, and he puts out his hand, and you see the lightsaber coming behind Ahsoka, and she just leans to the side, and he catches it. And I feel as though, like, there was a moment where, like, he said it under his breath. He was like, bitch. Which is one of the reasons, it's at least my headcanon for when, like, Ahsoka smirked back at him. I was like, well, she definitely heard him call her a bitch as them doors was about to close. Like, them doors closed, and he turned straight to Shin and was like, who was that bitch? Like, you ain't tell me that y'all had nobody that was chasing y'all like that. Where did she come from? Oh, it's so nice being hyped for Star Wars, man. Like, oh my god, definitely my favorite just universe that I would want to live in that has been getting mistreated on the big screen. So it's great that Ahsoka's taking the care to at least build super interesting stories. I thought both episode 1 and episode 2 were really engaging, and I'm locked in. I can't wait until next week to catch episode 3. Let me know what you think about Ahsoka. Comment down below, and I will catch you in the next one. Let me go over here first. Peace.